On average, 500,000 people will be treated this year for complications from the bite of a parasitic arachnid that's rapidly on the rise in both bites and infections. I'm talking about ticks. Today's guest knows exactly what it's like, the sudden itching, the nausea, the racing heart, and no clear answers, even from the doctors. After battling through a brutal season of mysterious illness, the truth finally surfaced. It all traced back to a tick bite that triggered a condition known as alpha-gal. Now she's here to share her experience, why people all across the country are experiencing the same sicknesses, and how God showed her how to fight back. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life TV Now, where we unpack all matters of truth, faith, and freedom. Today, we're going to be navigating some territory that for me is really difficult because I really don't like some of the subject material, but I feel like God would have us share some of this revelation on this platform because there are people out there right now that really need the information. Before we dive in, let me introduce who's here. She's an integrative nutrition health coach with a Master of Science in Health Education. Please welcome our executive producer, Jamie Woodle. And she's a medical assistant, a mother of 3, and an alpha-gal survivor. Please welcome Ashley Blake. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an absolutely incredible program planned for you today. But before we get started, I want to tell you about something I'm seeing help a lot of people who are looking to support healthy blood sugar levels and a healthy insulin response. Something I absolutely love, and I think you're going to love it too. I'm talking about Eden's Essentials' new and improved blood sugar formula. It's a thoughtfully crafted botanical blend with ingredients like cinnamon bark, gymnema, fenugreek, bitter melon, and chromium, designed to support healthy metabolic function and help maintain normal blood sugar levels and overall balance in the body. It's made with clean, plant-based ingredients, no fillers, no artificial additives or preservatives. We're talking about just a pure, carefully sourced formula that you can trust in a clean, simple, easy-to-take capsule. And right now we have a special going on at Eden's Essentials where you can save 15% off your next purchase of our blood sugar formula when you use the promo code SUGLTN at checkout. And here's the thing, I don't know how long these prices are going to last. I don't know how long this promo code is going to last, so don't delay. Try Eden's blood sugar formula today with promo code SUGLTN and save 15% off your next order. All right, now we dive in to the important stuff. Ashley, as you've heard me now disclose, prior to the taping of this program, I myself really grapple with things like tick bites, the idea that chiggers carry this potential alpha-gal, this side effect that people are suffering after they've been bitten by these little critters. And I know that God makes all things perfect, but we're living in a fallen world, and some of what he has created, it's okay for me to exist maybe outside of it. Like maybe that's why he also created chickens so that they can scratch at the earth and eat some of these things. But, we live in the Midwest, and I'm not conflating this when I say I've literally prayed about maybe relocating out of the Midwest, but our operation is here, our ministry is here. I cannot stand the creepy, crawly, bitey, slithery little things. I just can't. Almost 50-year-old man, martial arts for 30 years, can't stand the creepy, crawly little things. And to me, the psychology of thinking that one of these bites could land somebody with a syndrome like alpha-gal. And then, of course, it's elusive, and doctors are testing, and they can't come up with explanations other than maybe it's all in your head. We don't know why this is manifesting. You know firsthand the debilitating effects of suffering something like alpha-gal syndrome. And there are people who die from this. It can be very serious. It's no joke, which is why we refer to you as a survivor when I do the intro and I say she's an alpha-gal survivor. Take us back to life before your diagnosis, and then we'll get into more specifically what it is. What is alpha-gal? How does it begin? Did you grow up in the Midwest?
Absolutely. So I've always grown up in Southwest Missouri. This is where my family is. We've always been here. So as a kid, life before alpha-gal, I was a carefree one. I walked in the woods barefoot. I walked down the street barefoot. It didn't matter where I went. I didn't care about the snakes. I was a little afraid of those. Ticks, they weren't an issue to me. I knew that if I got bit by one, I just take a pair of tweezers and just pluck it off and be like,
Pick them and flick
done.
them.
Yeah.
That's what we're told here in Missouri. Pick them and flick them.
Yep. And so to me, it was nothing that I thought I needed to worry about, right? We had heard about Lyme disease and how ticks could carry it, but we didn't really see an inflation of that as a kid. And so, yeah, life here was,
Just
carefree.
normal. Sure.
Normal.
When did you first start noticing something in your health was just not right? And was this following like a known bite? You experienced something you could isolate to that day. I had that mysterious bite from a bug, and then suddenly after that. Like, take us through how this began to develop.
Back then, I couldn't pinpoint when this started. Now I can. It was at the very tail end of July of 2019. And so I noticed that I was just not feeling good. I was very sluggish, and it was really kind of hard for me to breathe. And at the time, I was living in Rogersville, and I was surrounded by nothing but cattle farms and hay fields. And so we just thought, hey, you're probably having allergic reaction to your seasonal allergies, and it's nothing to really worry about. But then it got worse. And then I started to, develop just vomiting every day. To be frank, throwing up everything. I couldn't keep anything down. I was extremely dehydrated. And then it got worse. I started having hives all over my body, and I couldn't sleep. He's my ex-husband now, but he told me that I had sleep apnea. He's like, you stop breathing in the middle of the night. You're not breathing. And I'm like, well, that's not good. Maybe we should go check out what's going on. Because I'm trying to take Benadryl. I'm trying to take Claritin. I'm trying to take these things that they tell us to take to help with allergies, and nothing seems to be working. And I did that for probably a good month before seeing a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah. Just daily vomiting.
Daily
Nothing
vomiting.
touches whatever this thing is. You're nauseous. You had almost like eczema, like skin rashes and...
Yeah, I grew up with eczema, so it definitely looked like it, but it didn't itch at the time. Like, it wasn't itchy. It just popped up on my face and on my arms and on my chest.
Did it look like hives, like little raspberries?
It didn't. It was actually underneath the skin. And so it was just these red patches all over my body. And I'm like, it's not itching. And I would tell my mom, I'd call my mom, it's not itching. I don't understand why. It's all over my body. It's on my neck and my face. And I don't know what's going on. She's like, you need to go see a doctor now. And I'm like, all right, well, I probably should.
You started experiencing that roughly, fall of 2019. Mm-hmm. This goes on for 30 days, something. You finally go start seeing doctors.
Yes.
What was that like? Were they knowledgeable? Were they kind of looking at you like, I have no idea what this girl is talking about?
Oh, yeah, no, they had no idea. I went in and I told them all my symptoms, and they're like, well, it sounds like you could be allergic to something that you're eating. They're like, have you changed your diet? Have you done anything with your laundry detergent? What are you consuming? What are you putting on your body? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I haven't done anything. I'm the same that I've always been, eating the same foods and washing my body with the same products and, washing my clothes with the same products. Nothing's changed. They're like, well, we really don't know what this is. This was the first appointment. And they're like, maybe, take some more Benadryl and start cutting some things out to kind of figure out what's going on. So they kind of left me high and dry.
Process of elimination diet or something, yeah.
Yeah, they left me kind of high and dry. They're like, you should be fine, take some more Benadryl. You're not really in a state where we're worried about it.
Were they drawing like blood labs, or did they?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Mm-mm. No,
Okay.
They were just assessing my symptoms and what I was experiencing at the time.
So you go back home. I'm assuming the symptoms just continue.
Yeah.
And at what point, do you have like family now worried? Like, what in the world? They're thinking maybe something's wrong with your stomach, or maybe the doctors are going to discover something that, diabolical that explains this, maybe with your pancreas or something like this is not right. She's throwing up every day, right?
Yeah. So my mom was the most worried about it. She's like, you are not well. I haven't seen you ever like this. She's like, maybe the doctors previously had given me a unidentified autoimmune disease. So she's like, maybe this is what we've been waiting for. Maybe we've been waiting for them to find out what's going on with your body. That way we can heal it.
So they said something like, you may have an autoimmune
Yeah.
disease.
Yes.
Did they say, but we're going to do some testing to try to determine which one, or just you might have something?
They did do testing. At a time, they said that I had lupus, and then they took it back. And they went back to saying, you have an unidentified autoimmune disease. And so my mom's like
Gotcha.
really honing in on, hopefully they'll just label her with what they labeled her before, and we can move on to healing. And so, but that's definitely not what happened.
No, I just, the reason I'm thinking this way is because we have so many viewers, and I hear this when we do conferences and I present on health. They'll say, I was so relieved when they finally labeled my disease.
Yeah.
They told me it was diverticulosis. They told me it was Crohn's disease. They told me it was lupus or fibromyalgia.
Right.
There's almost a sense of like, okay, because now at least
Yeah.
we know what we're going after, right? And of course, we're not going to get into this today, but I am not a big fan of, becoming the label. If you want to diagnose or prescribe and you find that beneficial for your own peace of mind because now you know kind of how to go, look at the symptomology and then go after reversing that naturally, I'm a huge fan. In allopathic medicine, we don't see a lot of long-term healing from people with autoimmune disease. We just see symptom management. So
That's right.
anyway, you get your diagnosis finally when, or was there more? Did things continuously advance? Now they've said generally maybe an autoimmune disease. At some point, did someone along the way figure this thing out?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was October of 2019. So it was several months later. Finally, I went to the ER. My face had swollen up at this time. So I was in anaphylactic shock. I can't breathe, I can't swallow, and I'm having a really hard time. And they're like, okay, well, we'll do blood work and see what we can do. I think I was there a total of maybe 6 to 10 hours waiting.
Jeez.
They had given me a shot of Benadryl, and they said, this might amp you up a little bit. We're going to help you try and go to sleep, and gave me something else. And so by the time I woke up, they're like, we finally have an answer for you. And I'm like, so what's going on in my body? They're like, you have what's called alpha-gal. I was like, what's that? And they're like, you're allergic to all red meat products and their byproducts. I was like, that doesn't make sense. And they said, well, it comes from a tick bite. And that's when my brain went back to when in July. I was like, oh, goodness.
The light bulb finally
Yep,
went
it
off.
was
Okay.
right there.
I have to ask, and this is as much for me as it is the viewers at home. Most of the research I've done on tick bites, conventional thinking is 24 to 36 hours before there's a transference of bacterium or something that would give rise to something like Lyme's disease. And so I've taken great solace over the last, almost 20 years living in the Midwest. If you catch it early, you minimize risks. Why do I have this suspenseful feeling you're going to shatter that thinking? Do you have a memory of this thing being latched on for a while, or was it just this vague little pick and flick? And
You're not going to like my answer. So we were at a family reunion in Poplar Bluff, and we were camping, and it was nothing for us to go camping. We were a very avid camping family, so we went every year. And I had noticed it the day that we started camping. We were hiking in the woods, and I was like, ooh, something itches on my leg. I bent over, and I just picked and flicked.
as I continue my inquisition, do you know if when you picked it very hastily, any parts of it remained in you? Because that's the other thing. I'm always very pragmatic. I'm very slow. It's a special type of tweezer. It's like a little tiny crowbar is what it looks like. It's a very tiny, and there's like 4 sizes depending on the size of the tick. And I always pull very pragmatically, usually within about 30 to 60 seconds, they'll release, and then I watch them crawl to make sure that we got the head, we got everything. Why do I still continue to hate this face you're making? Like, he was still intact. He appeared alive. Do you recall, or did you just flick?
I don't recall it in
Thank
any
you.
way.
Thank you. Because now there's a chance you were hasty and some part of it lingered on.
I will say that he was very small.
Okay.
So he wasn't a big tick.
Okay.
He was a very small tick. And so that's what confused me at first when they gave me the diagnosis. I was like, the last time I got bit was in July. And he was very small. How could he do that?
Right.
How could a small little thing like that cause such a detrimental thing to my health?
And I'm doing this as the protagonist for those of you on the couch at home, because this is going to be, anybody that's looked into this, another wave of solace that people take. You know, they say that the smaller, the seed ticks now, that the ones you got to worry about are the ones that look more Lone Star. Those are the larger with the dot in the back. Those are the ones that have had seasons to bite deers and to bite and travel and fall off of wildlife and now infect you. You're saying this was a very small tick?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was big. I didn't see any white dot on the back of it. I'd say probably just your average little one that you might get. Not the tiniest ones you've seen, but just like your little tiny one.
I'm trying to think of something to compare it to. An M&M would be like a grapeseed tick. Those are massive. They're
those
disgusting.
Watermelon seed, maybe.
Watermelon
Smaller than a
seed, is that
watermelon
bigger?
I would say
Is this my
Probably
own
closer
need
to
to
a
know, or
poppy
do you
seed.
guys track with this? Because listen, if you live in a place where these things live, you want to believe that there are some steps that you can take to make sure that you're minimizing these risks. So you're saying a poppy seed? Well, that would be what I would consider a seed tick.
yeah.
Any smaller than that, and they become to work. I mean, I can't.
They're
You can barely
nymphs,
even
I think
see
it's-
them. Yeah, I don't like it, Ashley. I really don't like it. I was hoping you'd help me out today. No, there's good news coming. Okay, so you get this diagnosis. Did allopathic medicine offer you anything other than the diagnosis that was beneficial, or was it, at least having a name, something you could go read about? When did you feel that you were getting a grasp on recovery?
Well, I'll go to your first question. They did not help at all. They basically said, you have this, stay away from eating red meat and anything that might come from a mammal. They're like, that's the only way that you're going to get any better.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. They're like, you'll have a allergist and he'll talk to you about what he knows, because this is brand new to us. We don't know what's going on. You're not the first person in the Ozarks to get this, but it's very rare at the time. And I was like, okay, that doesn't help at all. And so I was like, alrighty.
I'm assuming you talked to an allergist and you probably cut out, meats and things and took some suggestions. Did that help? Did you start feeling better?
I did. It took a long time to feel better because my allergy, they told me, was so severe that they said that even the smell of cooking meat was going to close my airway.
Yeah. Wow.
And so they automatically gave me several EpiPens and were like, if you feel like you can't breathe, obviously, please use it. Follow instructions.
Right.
And so it was probably closer to January by the time where I wasn't still throwing up every day. Even though I had cut out the meat and cut out the dairy and any mammal byproducts, I was still having, it was that initial overload of the meats and the allergic reaction. It still took time to heal from that.
What did that do to your life? I mean, just your family, the toll, did you believe that, you continue to be sick. Did you believe that at some point this trend would help you, that the avoiding of meats and that recovery would come? I just imagine that was just brutal, your family going through that.
It was, because at first, it actually took several years for my ex-husband's family to believe that I even had an allergy. Okay. They're like, well, why don't you still have this and we'll cook for you? And I said, I can't. I can't. And
I gotta risk it.
They're like, we're cooking breakfast and why don't you guys come over for breakfast? We've got bacon and sausage. And I'm like, I can't come into your home. And they're like, well, that's not fair. And I said, no, it's not fair, but I'm here to take care of the body that God has given me, and I can't. I'm sorry. And so it didn't take just a toll on my small children at the time, but it took a toll on our extended family at the time as well. So at the time when, right after I got the diagnosis and I went to the allergist, they told me, don't fear, this could go away between a year to 2 years. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe we can even dial it down a little bit and make it 6 months so I don't have to wait that long for healing. And so that part also took a toll on my family. They expected me to heal very quickly. And when that didn't come, it caused a lot of resentment.
You became the symbol of just stress and like
Yep.
what?
Yeah, a lot of stress. We couldn't go out to eat anymore. We couldn't go to families' houses or friends' houses. And it was, I'm always cooking and I'm learning now how to cook properly with alpha gal and the new foods I need to bring. Some spices have milk products in
Oh,
it.
for sure. Absolutely.
And so it was, very much making sure that everything that we put in the house was not going to cause me to have a allergic reaction.
That sounds very isolating.
It was very
taxing,
isolating.
Very isolating.
But you actually, when we were talking about your journey, you had mentioned you had a slight reprieve during one of your pregnancies.
I did. And it was with my son. So my son is now 4. And so about 4 years ago, halfway through my journey, the doctor, during a standard visit for blood work, said, congratulations, you do not have alpha-gal anymore. And I'm like, you're joking. And they're like, nope, you are alpha-gal free. Go ahead and eat whatever you want. You don't have to just reintroduce it. It's completely gone. And I was like, that sounds great.
That's amazing.
So that was about 6 months into my pregnancy. So for the next 6 months, I was eating again and it was great.
Wow.
And my son was born and, I was feeling a lot better because at the time before that, I was very malnourished. I wasn't, supplementing the way that I should have been. And so when we got closer to having my next blood draw is when I had my next allergic reaction. And it was the worst allergic reaction that I have ever had the entire time. My face, I think, blew up almost 4 times as big. I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah.
It was very painful. This time it actually hurt to just even touch my face. There was so much swelling. I was oozing water. I was oozing my own oils out of my face. It was very hard.
Wow.
It took
And that was after your
scary.
son was born.
It is, several months after my son was born. So a total of 6 months of being able to eat whatever I wanted.
If you're watching this show, though, and you're wanting us to rush right into, the protocols and what she did in terms of lifestyle and maybe some supplements and other things and how do I prevent, we're going to be talking about that probably a lot next week because we were never going to get through all of this today. We're down to like 4 minutes already. But having said that, being that next week we're going to focus a lot more on the what to do's, I do want to offer people that are watching this program some steps that they can start with. So I heard you say a minute ago, you said something like I wasn't supplementing properly. I wasn't quite eating quite right. Mm-hmm. So even though you were avoiding all of these meats and then you'd had this reprieve with this pregnancy, what I'm hearing is it all just came flooding back, and now what? You're now back to I can't eat whatever I want anymore, and now I have to go back to the tricky diet. Were you thinking at the time, this is my life. I now can only eat 2 things, and I'm sick of them, and I'm probably malnourished because I can't handle a diverse variety of foods that would maybe give me all my macronutrients, micronutrients. Would you have even thought about those words? Were you even looking at this thing holistically yet? Was there some part of this that eventually brought you face to face with somebody that thought more naturally and thought, here are some other things we're learning about this or tweaks that you could make?
Yeah. Before the pregnancy, I was trying a more holistic route. I just wasn't having the right supplements. The supplements that I was using just weren't working for my body, but I was working on my gut health. That was the turning point that I saw was cleaning the body and completely restructuring the gut.
Okay.
That's when I started to feel better. And so by taking care of my gut health, what I did was I started implementing fermented foods. So kombuchas and then sauerkrauts and then kimchi and all of these things that most people don't think that they taste very good, but after a while of not being able to eat anything, you're going, this tastes fantastic. So I implemented that on a daily basis, small amounts here and there throughout my day, and I saw an increased improvement on the way that I felt, the way that my joints and my muscles felt, and my daily fog, because I had brain fog like no other for years.
You know, it's interesting because week after week we sit in this studio, Jamie, and people walk in with their testimonies of all types of afflictions and disease varieties, and much of it in remission now. And then there will be those that say, I have to keep working on this. And I'm living proof that you have to keep working. For me, it's not even a goal to go back to what I did 10 years ago. I have no interest in it whatsoever, the way that I took care of my body. But one of the common threads that you hear week after week after week is, people will start saying that they turned that corner. They started seeing those initial little waves of improvement, whatever it was, fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, some of the things we've talked about. It's that moment that they start to talk about what? Their gut health.
Yeah, absolutely.
The gut is the river that moves through the center of your body, and it is the river toward life, or it is the river toward death. And you make decisions every day what you put on the end of your fork, whether you're moving toward life, whether you're moving toward death. And there's a bunch of reasons for this. When she talks about fermented foods, she's repopulating something in her gut called healthy biome. These are the good critters. These are the healthy bacterium that are there as a proponent for your health. They're eating the nutrients down for you so that you can absorb them into the lining of your digestive tracts. They're advocating for you.
Yes.
But we often in this country, especially because of our high carb, high sugar diets, we're overgrown with things like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or candidus, or yeast, or fungal overgrowths. They're only there parasitically for themselves. That's why you have the brain fog, and you can't sleep at night, and you're dealing with insomnia, and your guts are a mess, and your hormones are out. We're not going to do a full teaching today on how to restore gut health, but I find that interesting because I didn't know you were going to say that, and I see that every week. Somebody at some point, they get to some moment in their journey, and they say, well, I started to feel better when I started taking care of my gut.
Yeah.
With just a few seconds left on the clock, Ashley, before we get into next week, we're going to get into some of the essential oils that you can use when you're going to be outdoors to mitigate risks for things like tick bites, chigger bites, the things that carry these nasty infections around. We're going to be talking about supplements that really helped you and some other diet and lifestyle changes that you made. Next week, we're going to have her back. Any final comments you want to leave the viewers with?
Yeah, absolutely. This is just a season, and there is hope right around the corner. It's not forever, and it does get better.
Praise the Lord. I love that. Unfortunately, we're all out of time for everybody here in studio. Ashley, Jamie, thank you so much for being here, right here at Life TV Now today. Keep your eyes on the prize, which is Jesus Christ. We'll be back.